welcome back. We're continuing after our talk about Mercury's retrograde periods and motions. We're talking about Moon Magick today. In early agrarian cultures, our ancestors planted crops and bred animals in accordance with the moon cycles. Today, we can still see the moon's influence on fertility cycles, crop growth, the ocean's tides, and mundane affairs. In terms of casting spells, the moon is the most important of the heavenly bodies to consider. Magic practitioners often time their spells to correspond to the movements of this so-called lesser light, perhaps because the moon rules intuition and the emotions, two parts of the psyche that strongly influence magic. For almost 200 years, the Farmer's Almanac has published information about lunar cycles. It's not uncommon for farmers who employ advanced technical methods to also take the almanac's advice when planting and harvesting crops. Spell workers, too, realize that you can reap greater benefits if you sow seeds, physically or symbolically, when the moon's position supports growth. Here we have types of moon and the phases. The new moon supports beginnings, the inception of new ideas, plans, projects, relationships, and activities. Now is the time to plant symbolic seeds that represent whatever you wish to create in your life. Cast spells to launch a new business, begin a relationship, or start a family. As the moon moves towards its full phase, you can watch your endeavor develop. The new moon is a good time to do divination too. Let's talk about the waxing phase. The moon's waxing phase, the 2 weeks between the new and the full moons, represent a period of growth. This is because and the best time to do spells designated to expand a business, attract new people, and encourage prosperity. If, for instance, you wish to earn more money or get a promotion at work, do a spell during the waxing moon. As the moonlight grows, so will your future. As you can see, we also have the full moon. The full moon represents the time of culmination and harvest. Under the moon's bright light, you can see, or at least start to see, the results of whatever you initiated 2 weeks ago during the new moon, and begin reaping the benefits. You have more clarity now to understand how your goals are shaping up and what steps you need to take, if any, to bring them to fruition. Things that were hidden before may now come to light. The moon goes through different phases, and the waning phase is next. During the 2 weeks from the full moon to the next new moon, the moon wanes and appears to diminish in size from our vantage point here on Earth. This is a good time to do spells that involve decrease or letting go. This 2-week period is perfect for spells to break all romantic ties, lose weight, eliminate bad habits, and reduce responsibilities at home or work. As the moon visibly shrinks, so will the conditions you target with your magic. Black and blue moons. When a month contains 2 full moons, the second is called a blue moon. When 2 new moons occur in 1 month, the second is known as a black moon. In these instances, the second one is considered more powerful than a regular new or full moon, so spells you do now may manifest more quickly. It is important to keep a lunar journal, and I love the way that this lady over here, you can see for 2018, is showing us her lunar journal. Imagine how much effort and time that took. You may find it useful to keep track of the moon's phases for a few months to get a sense of how the energy shifts and how it affects you. In a notebook or a computer file, write a paragraph or so about how you feel during each lunar phase. Describe your emotions, experiences, thoughts, and anything unusual or specifically meaningful that happens. You may also wish to record your dreams or examine them in connection with the moon's position. Those make beautiful gifts. If you're recording your magical work on a grimoire or book of shadows, like the picture on the bottom, be sure to note the moon's phase and zodiac signs at the time you cast a spell. This practice will enable you to keep track of the moon's impact on your spells, so you can work more successfully with lunar power in the future. Witches often come together for Esbats, or meetings of Covens, usually on full and new moons, to enjoy community and fellowship. Each full moon has its own unique characteristics, often based on seasonal energies. Esbat rituals draw upon nature's patterns, as well as mythology, cultural traditions, and astrology. Whether or not your magical practice involves other people, you may wish to mark the full moons with rituals and spell work. The following list, which I'm gonna briefly describe, has some of the attributes of each full moon. We got to know here that different cultures probably call the full moons by different names. In January, it's known as cold, frost, ice, or quiet moon, and it marks a time for renewal, discovery, resolve, and focusing on your purpose. Now is the time to set goals and to do spells for wealth and prosperity. In February is called the wild snow, ice, and the starving moon. It represents a period of healing and purification. Spells that prepare you for initiation, encourage healing or new growth, or foster physical or financial well-being are appropriate at this time. March brings the storm, wind, death moon. The death moon ushers in a time of change and awakening after a bleak, dormant period. Goals set under January's cold moon now begin to manifest. Do spells for personal growth and change now. Of course, April, we know that there's a lot of showers and water, seed growing, and awakening moon is present at this time. The awakening moon is opening to new opportunities and experiences, so do spells for love, cleansing, growth, and strength at this time. As you can see, some of the months correspond to what you will think is present in nature, and May is, of course, another example. May, known as the hare, bright, grass, and corn planting moon, encourages joy, pleasure, sexuality, and fertility. This is a good time to do love spells, as well as spells for healing from emotional trauma and loss. June, during the honey mead planting or horse moon, focus on strengthening relationships of all kinds, love, family, friendship. This is also a good time to do spells to enhance communication and domestic harmony. Right now we are in July, which is the wort, raspberry, or rose moon. And rose moon represents a time of maturation and fulfillment. Spells for protection and prosperity can benefit from the energy of this full moon. August is called the harvest moon for a reason. Known as the barley, gathering, or lining moon, it's a time for gathering together all that holds meaning for you. Celebrate your blessings now and show gratitude, which will bring more blessings your way. Work with others of like mind during this time to share ideas, goals, and information. Finally, we have September. The harvest, singing, or spiderweb moon is another period of reaping rewards for your efforts and for seeing your dreams come to fruition. Give thanks for goals realized, projects completed, and wisdom gained. Focus on completion of projects and bringing your life into balance. My favorite month of the year, October. During the blood harvest or leaf falling moon, release all patterns and clear away emotional psychic debris. Do spells to help you let go of whatever or whoever is standing in your way of fulfillment. This is also a time to remember and honor loved ones who have moved on to another realm of existence. Finally, November and December. In November, the snow, dark, or tree moon is a time to look beyond the mundane world into the magical one. Scry to gaze into the future. Do divination to gain guidance and wisdom that will aid you in the coming months. Open your mind to receive prophecies of things to come. In December, under the dark, cold, or lone night moon, release your fears and banish those things in your life that are harmful or no longer useful. This is a time for silence, meditation, and introspection. Do spells to break all bonds, overcome obstacles, and end self-limiting habits and behaviors. Whether you belong to a group of magic workers or a solitary practitioner, you will experience during the full moon nights the sense of community and fellowship of like-minded people. You can be certain that on any full moon, people around the world are casting circles and performing spells, celebrating and chanting, scrying and meditating. You are an integral part of this global community. By realizing your part in the whole, you will bring yourself into closer connection with your fellow beings and the divine. We talk about the Esbats and the meeting of the Covens. Now let's talk about the Sabbats. Well, our ancestors divided the sun's annual cycle, known as the wheel of the year, into 8 periods of approximately 6 weeks each. Each spoke in the wheel corresponds to a particular degree in the zodiac. Witches and other pagans refer to these dates as Sabbats and celebrate them as holidays or holy days. These high-energy days offer special opportunities for performing magic spells and rituals. Let's talk about the Sabbats. Samhain, better known as Halloween or All Hallows Eve, this holy day is usually observed on the night of October 31st. For witches, Samhain is a time to remember and honor loved ones who have passed over to the other side, hence the connection with death. You may also wish to contact the spirits in other realms of existence on this eve or request guidance from ancestors or guardians. Because the veil that separates the seen and the unseen worlds is as thinnest as Samhain, many people like to do tarot or rune readings now to gain insight into the future. Please be careful. Perform spells to break all bonds and shred all habits on Samhain. For example, on a piece of paper, write down something you want to release from your life, then burn the paper in your cauldron or ritual fire. Yule, the winter solstice. Yule is celebrated on the day of the winter solstice, which usually occurs between December 20th and December 22nd. This is the shortest day of the year in the northern hemisphere, the time when the Earth is farthest away from the Sun in her orbit through space. Because Yule marks the turning point at which the days begin to lengthen again, witches held it as a return of the light, to celebrate light candles to represent the sun, and burn what we call a Yule log, usually oak, which symbolizes strength and longevity. Save a piece of the log to start your Yule fire next year. Do spells for rebirth and new beginnings on this Sabbath. Beautiful holiday called Imbolc or Brigid's Day, also called Candlemas. The Sabbath honors Brigid, the beloved Celtic goddess of healing, smithcraft, and poetry. Her holiday begins on the evening of January 31st and concludes on February 2nd. At this time, daylight is increasing and the promise of spring is in the air. Thus, Imbolc is considered a time of hope and renewal. Brigid is one of the fertility goddesses, often depicted stirring a cauldron, and Imbolc means in the belly. Witches connect her with all forms of creativity, so this Sabbath is a good time to engage your own creative urges. Do a spell to launch your new ventures, kindle inspiration for a project, or spark your imagination. Here we have Ostara. Ostara, the spring equinox. Usually celebrated around March 21st, Ostara marks the first day of spring, ushering in warmer weather and longer days in the northern hemisphere. The earth awakens from her long winter's sleep, and new life begins to emerge once more. This Sabbath celebrates the triumph of life over death, as well as fertility and creativity. A time for planting seeds, literally or figuratively. Ostara's energy supports spells for beginnings. Consider planting herbs and flowers now to use in future spells. You may also want to craft talismans to attract good fortune. Beltane. Witches usually celebrate Beltane on May 1st, when flowers bloom profusely and crops begin sprouting in the fields. The Sabbath marks a period of fruitfulness and honors sexuality and fertility. An old tradition says that on Beltane, women who wish to become pregnant should build a small fire in a cauldron and then jump over it. Do love spells on this Sabbath. Fashion good luck charms to attract new partners or improve an existing relationship. This is also a good time to tap the earth's fertility for prosperity magic. Plant herbs such as mint and parsley to use in money spells. Look at what a beautiful picture. Finally is Midsummer, or the summer solstice. In the northern hemisphere, the summer solstice is the longest day of the year, usually around June 21st. This is a time of abundance, when the earth puts forth her bounty in all its radiance. Tap this period of fullness to boost the power of spells for wealth, success, and recognition. Legend says you can communicate with the elementals and fairies now, as you can see in the picture, and solicit their help in spell work. Midsummer is also a good time to collect herbs, flowers, and other plants to use in magic spells through the year. Lughnasadh or Lammas, named for the Irish Celtic god Lugh or Lugh in Wales. Lughnasadh, produced Lughnasadh, is usually celebrated on August 1st. It is the first of the harvest festivals. Our ancestors saw it as a time to reap the fruits of their labors and to begin preparing for the winter months ahead. As you enjoy the year's bounty, remember to show gratitude for your blessings. This is a good time to do spells for health and protection and to concoct herbal potions from fresh, healthy plants. Mabon, the autumn equinox. Mabon usually occurs around September 22nd. The autumn equinox is a time of balance and harmony, when day and night are of equal length. During this second harvest festival, witches take stock of the year's successes and failures, and give thanks for the good things in their lives. Honor your accomplishments now, and reassess situations that didn't turn out as you hoped. As the year wanes, do spells for letting go, reduction, and endings. Legal spells can also benefit from Mabon's energy. This is also a good time to resolve conflict and establish boundaries in both personal and professional areas. In my Wiccan course, available through our platform and through Udemy, We also discuss the wheel of the year and greater death, and we include some of the traditions surrounding the Sabbats. So, when is not such a good thing to cast a spell? Unless you have a clear goal in mind, don't bother doing a spell. Not only it is a waste of time and energy, it can actually create more problems, because the energy generated by your spell lasts focused and bounces about and around through your life randomly like a pinball. If you are distracted or worried, your state of mind will interfere with your focus and the effects of your spell. Usually it's not a good idea to do a spell when you're ill, either because your personal energies are unbalanced and that could weaken your spell. You might even send unhealthy vibes into the universe and drain your own vitality. Of course, you may want to do a spell to regain your health. Try something gentle, such as a healing bath. As we now move into part 2 of this course, you'll notice that I recommend the best time to perform each spell, taking into account the moon's phase and other astrological influences. Usually, I will suggest more than one option. If a situation warrants immediate attention and you can do a spell on the optimal date, don't despair. Go ahead and remember that your intention is the most important part of any spell. We'll move into the second part of this course, in which I'm going to be giving you different spells for all reasons and all seasons. I'll see you soon.